Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the Ultimate EDM Mixing course. Now as I said, I'm not going to spend too long over this, as I know you'll be anxious to get stuck into the practical side of things, but we're going to have a quick look at what you need to actually make pro quality mixes and bust some myths about what you don't need. And if you've ever heard of Pareto's 80-20 rule, it basically says that 20% of what you do gets you 80% of results, and 80% of what you do gets you 20% of results. So I'm going to share with you in this section the 20% you should be focusing on to get the most results, and a bit of the 80% that, yeah, it makes a difference, but really it's not worth focusing on. So the first thing that you need is a computer, which I'm sure you are aware of. And if you've got a powerful computer you're happy with, that you know you can run plugins on and it doesn't slow down, then you don't need to watch this lesson and you can move on to the next. But if your computer does struggle from time to time, or you're thinking of buying a new one anyway, there are a few things to take into consideration, so let's have a quick look at them. Mixing can be quite intensive on a computer because of the effects that we use and the high quality audio stems that you generally mix with. Now these stems are the separate audio tracks of each channel, so you might have the synth stem or the snare stem or the vocal stem, and you might have anything from between 10 to 50 or 60 of these high quality audio stems. So it stands to reason that your computer's got to be powerful enough to handle it. Your choices are basically a Mac or a Windows machine. Linux will probably restrict you in terms of the plugins available and sharing projects and doing collaborations with other people because it's not so prevalent as Windows or Mac. So unless you're already a complete Linux head, I'd best stay clear of that. Personally, I use Mac. The main reason I do that is because when I was DJing each week in London at my residency, I used to use a PC laptop, a Toshiba, running Windows. And during one or two sets, it started to pack up, and then one day it stopped completely in the middle of a set. And I had to call my brother up and asked him to come down to the club with his laptop. And bearing in mind, the mix had completely stopped. So luckily I chucked on a mix CD for half an hour whilst my bro got down. But you know those dreams you have when you're a kid and you go to school and you're naked? Well, having all the music stop in a club whilst you're DJing is the DJ equivalent to that dream. It is so embarrassing, and that's why I switched to Mac. It works for me. They're far from perfect, but stability is really important for me. But they generally cost a bit more than a machine running Windows, so you have to factor that in. Now you can use either a tower computer or a laptop. They're both up to the task nowadays. So I would say choose by your lifestyle. For me, I like to travel around, so I love using a laptop. I can also use it when I'm DJing, so I don't need to transfer files from my main computer to my laptop. I just keep them all in one place and make sure I back up my files to an external hard drive. Which brings me to the next thing that you need, which is a large enough hard drive. Now, storage space is so cheap now. You can get a 1 terabit external drive for $60, $70. USB 3 is amazing if you can get it, but USB 2 is fine. Because if you're streaming audio from an external hard disk, it's got to be fast enough not to buffer and cause glitches in the audio. Or if you've got a big enough internal drive, you could just do your mixing on that, and then when you finish the mix down, you can transfer all the files to your external drive for safekeeping. And in terms of computers, that's it really. You could spend as little as $250 and get a computer worthy of mixing on, or you could spend a bit more and enjoy the speed that comes with and the ability to run a few more plugins with a faster processor, a bit more RAM. You could spend $1,500 and get something that will last you for years. In the next video, we'll have a look at the best software you can run on your computer for mixing.